Okay, let's do it. All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the channel tonight. Welcome to tonight's stream. Maria Lisa says hi. She is the feet under the blanket on the couch back in the background, which never to be neglected. That was actually that was one of her first acting gigs. She played feet under the blanket on the couch in the background in one of the Star Wars prequels. So, if you can watch them and spot that, I will send you an order of French fries. I don't know. This is supposed to be a professional editing stream, and this is what we're starting with. Here we go. Uh, that's also the reason. Anyway, so tonight we are doing more video editing. We are back working on B52. We're going to be we are finally jumping into the main kind of central scene of the movie, which is just so much fun. So I can't wait to get started. And we're gonna go through. We're definitely not getting a full cut of this scene done tonight. I've picked out a stopping point that I hope we will get to. But we'll see. We'll get as far as we get. We are going to be spending several days putting this one together, for several different reasons. But yes, that's the plan. As always, this stream is meant to be as much of it's a platform for me to share my work and to talk about my process. It's also it's I would love it to be an educational tool in some way. So if anyone is in the film industry, wants to be in the film industry, is an editor, is a director, a writer, actor, if you have any questions, if you want to chime in, by all means, please. The chat is open for you. If you're any of those things, if you're involved in anything creative and want to share your work in the chat, by all means, please do that. I want this to be as yeah, like this is if whatever what to whatever degree I have a platform, I want to share it with as many people as possible. So, please, by all means, share your work, share your thoughts. Um, let's see if you were involved in this production. If Elena, if our writer director, if you're on the chat, of course, you know you can share your comments and give feedback. If any of our cast, Adam or Annabelle or John are checking in, you guys are hello Maria Lisa. I guess that's you're present Maria Lisa. This is past Maria Lisa because you're there's a delay. Um, okay, just the comments hello from behind you is unnerving. Like that's got a the calls coming from inside the house kind of vibe. Um, this is not that movie, but yes, if you're part of the cast or the crew and wanna chime in, you're more than welcome to share your thoughts. Honestly, I would love it if you guys share your thoughts. So if you are part of that team, please by all means be part of this. Yeah, and anyone else like chat's open. I want this to be a conversation as much as it can be. Um, let's see. And yeah, the kind of main reason I do this, and I try to say this every time, and it just continues making this introduction longer and longer. Is the is that editing is such a huge part of the filmmaking process, but it's often such a part that gets it's often a part that gets very much ignored and very much kind of pushed to the side, and kind of hidden behind a curtain. And there's a lot of reasons for that. Um, uh, One of them, but like there's a lot of reasons for that. Some of them being just it's we are going to be showing an incomplete film. We're going to be showing mistakes. I know as the cinematographer on this shoot, I know I made mistakes on this, and I'm gonna talk about some of them. Um, I know like there might be actors flipping lines. There might be just different things like and you're also seeing the cuts of a film come together. The first few cuts are not going to work. They never do. Um, that's why you have multiple cuts, and that's why editing takes as much time as it does. But because it does take as much time, and because you can change so much of the way a story is told with a few different versions of a movie, I think it's important to share this as much as I can. Also, interestingly, it's a SAG Screen Actors Guild thing. Has a lot of reasons why you can't live stream editing. We'll talk about that. We're not violating SAG rules on this project. Um, but anyway, yeah, so we do it to pull back that curtain to kind of talk about why we talk about editing, talk about the process of it because I think it's underrepresented and it really should be part of this. So, okay, with all of that said and uh, everything I think ready to go, we're gonna go ahead and jump into Premiere. So here we are, Adobe Premiere, one of our two familiar homes on these live streams, either this or Lightroom. Um, so this is obviously the same project, and I say this every time, but um, if it doesn't matter what you're editing in, what matters is just what you're like is the art of choosing takes and picking cuts and assembling a story is the same. Doesn't matter what software you're using. Um, so here's what we got. Here's where we left off. And I'm going to show a couple things. One, we're going to take a look at this scene we did last time, um, which is the hallway scene or the staircase scene. We're gonna put a base color grade on it to be able to see what it looks like with a little bit of with a very rough look to it, get a sense of what the final shot product might look like. And then we're going to jump into editing. This is theoretically all of our raw footage for tonight. To jump through, we've got we got them coming into the room. We've got just kind of the process of them coming in, the process of them almost getting caught once, and then uh the eventual uh meeting and moment at the safe. So yeah, that's the plan for tonight. We'll see how far we get. But yeah, let's go ahead and jump in the first. Like I said, first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna start off watching excuse me, the cut of the staircase scene with a rough color grade on it. So first of all, yeah, going from raw footage to color grade definitely gives it a much more polished look, which is great. Um, Also, the GoPro shot is going to look weird because this is a color grade. It's a color grade kind of going across the whole scene, and it's not. This is designed for the cinema camera, not for the GoPro, and that's something I will fix specifically in color grading when I get there. Okay, let's see. By the way, one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight. Okay. I was trying to do five or six cuts in that scene. I ended up doing eight. That's not the worst thing. Okay, but let's take a look at this scene. Nope. Let's make sure I'm actually over here where I'm supposed to be. That's better. Okay, here we go.
Chose a bad night.
I was in the area.
That seems reckless.
It's better on the fly.
Is it?
Get in, get out, get lucky. Nobody gets hurt.
Is that why you brought the knife?
I'm very lucky.
You're very twitchy.
I am not.
What if my husband came around the corner? You could gut him easy. Arthur, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Kidding. It's just a joke. I'm totally kidding.
So, how much we talking? Money?
Couple hundred. I don't know. It's his money.
Okay, so that's where that scene leaves off. This is one that I did go back and look at it a couple times since we edited it, and I'm actually pretty happy with it for a first assembly. I'm sure there's gonna be tweaks to make, but I'm pretty happy with this. Um, Obviously this color grade is rough, and the but it, you know you, it's funny when you shoot with depending on what you're shooting, depending on how your camera handles certain colors, certain things make a much bigger impact. Red in this case, the raw stuff is like there's kind of red light there, but when you throw in a grade and it really pulls the reds out, which is nice, which is like I think it looks fantastic. Um, I'm gonna do a little bit of tweaking on this. This is a little bit darker than I want it to be, and this shot's a little bit also a little bit darker. So there's a lot there's color grading in this film is gonna be a long process as it would be with anything. Um, and that's part of the reason why the GoPro shot looks like they're in hell, which not necessarily the wrong uh, connotation, but certainly not certainly not something we want to lean into that visually, that aggressively, that early in the film. Hold for T. Anyway, so yeah, that's what this scene looks, and looking back at it, I think it holds up pretty well. So actually, I'm not gonna turn that to track off. I'm just gonna move our color grade down here so it's out of the way for tonight. Um, Still on the fence about. You know what? Actually, I take it back. I am gonna do a I'm gonna throw on this shot of Arthur coming up the stairs. I'm gonna go ahead and put that cut there. I'm gonna take this, move it down here, and I'll adjust as I need to. For a couple of reasons. The main one being we don't need a lot of this take, I don't think. We don't need the it's not super important to see him by himself. Okay, we're gonna let him do that step, which is right foot coming up. We actually might pull this back a little bit more. Actually, actually that is actually he is on the right foot right there. There we go. So this might actually work. Again, cut on movement. Yep. Cut on movement. Cut on, and if the movements are at least somewhat close, you usually get away with it.
It's his money.
Yeah, we need a little more time there. Let's pull this back. Let's give him a little more space here. Give him an extra step. Then again, let's give him an extra step going the other direction. Let's do it over here. I think that makes more sense. Man, this stream's starting out real quiet, so apologies for that. That's good. Cool, and cut to black. That works. Okay, so we're going to stick with that for now. We'll delete that. And I did that for a couple of reasons. One, I did that because it's
His money.
one, I did it because it keeps our frame continuity the same and keeps Arthur on the side we want him on and Madeline on the side we want her on. But it also, more important than that, it keeps us going movement-wise. We're still going from left to right. And we did sort of break that rule a little bit in this scene. But going left to right here, uh, uh, how far can I keep going with this? We kept going until the camera started moving, didn't we? Yep. Okay, undo that. Might be able to tweak that a little bit. But we'll see if we need to. But also because the first shot of this scene, over here, starts with them. Oh, this one's gonna be all right. So this scene's gonna be a little bit louder. Let me set levels real quick for you guys.
Action.
Okay. Yo, all right. Pause. All right. I am going to mute. Actually, I'm just gonna. Nope. What am I doing? Keep those the same. I'm just gonna solo. Our top two tracks are the boom. I'm just gonna. These are all kind of linked as single clip as a single unit. So I'm just gonna solo the boom track here, and that's gonna be what we edit with, because then our sound editor and our sound designer and our re-recording mixer will be able to go through and tweak the moments as need be. So and they'll decide which tracks to use. So let's see. But yeah, so anyway, the point is this shot starts with them coming in, going again left to right. So we want to keep that movement consistent over the course of the scene. So that's what we're gonna do. That's why we're gonna end this scene where we do. And this is I think it's a pretty common thing that you'll notice is if you're editing scenes kind of individually, uh, you usually want to allow space at the beginning and the end to kind of like kind of allow a couple of options or allow some extra room at the beginning and the end so that you can it gives you you got you've unless it's a scene that needs to cut off on something specific, or a scene is going to fade to black, or anything like that. It's um leave some space, and then when you come back to do when you do the scene that's when you're doing the transitions, you've got the options and you got the space to cut it the way you want it. And that helps control overall pacing, which is usually something that gets addressed either at the end of a rough cut or uh, as the first step of a second cut. All right, so let's talk about the footage we got here. This scene is the main scene of the movie. There's always with short films, that's usually a thing. It's usually there is somebody give me a wide shot. There we go, that works. I actually really love this wide shot. Um, with short films, there is usually a main scene, just because that usually ends up being it's usually a lot of short films. And this again is a filmmaking tradition that more than likely comes from theater. Um, is there's usually one main scene, and everything else in and around it is usually um in subservience, or everything before it at least is in subservience to this main scene. Because it's that's what this is for. And I said last time the main scene in this movie, this is an 11-page script, and this scene in the study takes up 5 out of the 11 pages. So it's also the looking at our footage. Let me close out some of these panels here because I don't need them all open. And I can talk for a second just about the there we go, footage and audio. Yeah, so scene one is 10 items, and that's our exterior scene. Like we haven't even edited yet, but it's 3 takes of 3 different shots, and then or 2 takes of 4 different shots. Sorry. I think we did 3 of one of them, but then and then a couple shots of the moon, and then a collection of audio. But so that's 10 items there. 34, 9, 14 for the staircase scene, and then 106, and then 5 and 19. So it's, by far the vast majority of the project is in this room and in this scene. Um, excuse me for a sec. There we go. But yeah, so the vast majority of the project is in this room, and this is kind of the everything's been building to. And we get to start assembling it. Now, the fun thing about this scene, and we talked a bit last time about master shots. Um, I'm gonna let this play for a sec. There we go. Get back to kind of the frame that I had. We talked about master shots, and the idea of running a scene in a master. And in a lot of short scenes, like the staircase scene was shot entire. Pretty much every shot is a master shot where you kind of run the whole scene in every shot. That's what I'm. If you're new to the industry, a master shot is a shot where you run the entirety of the scene. It's not just pieces. It's the whole scene. So theoretically, um, it's called a master shot because theoretically you can start with it and cut to something else, and then cut back to it and cut to something else, and keep cutting back to it, and you will cover the whole scene that way. Um, but oftentimes in longer scenes, in scenes that have uh, in scenes that uh, have more going on, have more significant story beats, especially have substantial changes the in the character relationships and the dynamic and kind of the landscape of the story. When you have that, you will often have it's hard to do a whole scene in a master, or at least your master has to have some kind of movement to it, whether it's camera movement or location movement or um, has to have some kind of change to it. Usually, this is not a hard and fast rule because nothing in filmmaking is a hard and fast rule, um, except respect the sound team. And uh, so usually you have to have some kind of movement or some kind of something in there so that the filmmaking, because otherwise, if you just set up a static shot, but that isn't changing as the story and the character landscape is changing, you're gonna have a shot that doesn't filmically reflect the story you're telling. Um, so for a scene like this scene is multiple. landscape changes, multiple beats. We've got multiple complicating elements coming in, and the landscape shifting several times. Also, the fact that there's a rule in filmmaking called the 180 rule. Again, not a hard and fast rule. We've already broken it twice in this film, but um, we've broken it three times actually. I think twice in the same way, and then once as a separate entity. But uh, the 180 rule is basically says you don't want to, if you're filming, like if I've got two characters here, and you're seeing them, the perspective you're seeing them from is the perspective of my camera. So this guy I believe is on your left and this guy's on your right. If we were to suddenly jump to my perspective, it would appear that the two of them just switched places. um, and that is and that can be disorienting because you're expecting them to be on one side of the scene versus the other. So usually we imagine that if you look at them from the top down, you imagine there's a line kind of running right through the middle of them, like right through the top of their heads, like parallel to them, not in between them, but parallel to them. And you want to stay on that side of the line. So if these are our characters and you guys are the camera, like we can do a shot like this. This is a normal two shot. We could do an over the shoulder, kind of like this. Let's get you in there. We could do that shot. That's fine. And then we could do the same thing here, still keeping the characters on the same sides of the screen, but just adjusting our position from them, and that doesn't change, doesn't break the 180. Um, but if we jump to my perspective, that's a 180 break, which is oftentimes when you see film sets, um, you'll see that there's like it's only one side of the set that's fully built out to look like a set, and the other side looks like a is the rest of the studio, because there's you're not shooting from that direction, you're not going to break the 180. In this case, in this scene, we know we have multiple parts of the room that we need to see. We need to see, Elena and I spent a lot of time discussing what side of the room are we going to be on, and what direction are we going to see? Are we breaking the 180 intentionally? When are we doing that? So on and so forth. And there's a bunch of caveats to when you can break the 180, and it's not as big of a like hard and fast rule as a lot of films as film school makes it out to be. Film school makes it out to be a big thing because it's an easy thing to spot if you don't know what you're doing, but it doesn't. It's not the it doesn't take away your engagement. It has a smaller impact than you might think it does unless you really lean into it. Um, but anyway, and also like if you see someone break the one, if the camera turns and sees a change, now you can break the 180 because we've shown you that transition. It's not a drastic cut with a switch. It's just we've shown that move happen. Um, but we spent a lot of time in this scene talking about, all right, how do we shoot this from which angle? Which angle do we shoot this from? What side of the room are we on, and how do we get from one side of the room to the next when we are, are we breaking the 180 or not? So yeah, all that to say, we shot this scene. We don't have a master of this scene. We shot overlap of all the scenes or all the moments. So we have coverage, but we don't have a master because this scene has so many landscape changes and we need to see things from different directions. That we shot kind of several smaller. We shot master shots of each beat, but not of the whole scene. So I'm going to play this, and you'll notice these first two takes don't have sound. These are our rehearsal takes. This is our sort of setting up, and if you've watched my streams before, especially when I was working on Agenda of a Narcissist back in kind of the winter, we talked a lot about um, we talked a lot about rehearsing with the camera team. This is that. We filmed the rehearsals just to see how everything would look. There we go. Uh, we filmed to kind of make sure the camera movements worked, to figure out how the blocking was going to go. I am Hey Shelby Lynn, welcome to the stream. I am genuinely impressed by how much I know this shot's on a dolly and I'm not catching it. That makes me really happy. To know that that's a thing and not be picking up on it. All right. Same thing here. I'm gonna drink some tea while we're watching this. We talked a lot about shadows in the production of this and how we wanted to express shadows.
Camera rolls.
All right, cool. So we got those two. Those are most pretty much our rehearsal takes, and now we've got three takes of the scene before we get into before we start getting into we got 3 takes of the scene that bring us in. Um, so let's take a look. Once again, uh, the ones that are kind of raised up onto the second track are there because those are excuse me those are Elena, our director's favorites to some degree. Um, so those are the ones that we're going into this expecting to like, but we're gonna watch everything. And the nice thing about this is that because for some moments we didn't shoot a lot of coverage, so it's in some cases we're going back to like the hallway scene or the dining room scene from earlier, where it really is like, all right, we gotta. It's not about cutting, it's about picking the take that's the best. But here we go. Camera rolls.
This is shot 5A, take 3.
Here we go.
And hold frame.
Actors back to 1, please close the door.
Yes, ma'am.
Frame. Frame.
Action.
All right, first thing I'm gonna trim that off because you will notice the kind of the first half of the shot is that.
Frame.
Action.
Uh, Deleted the wrong thing. Also, talk about mistakes. The number of times I say frame, indicating that the camera is where it needs to be, and then I am lying. And then I move it again.
Frame.
Action.
Okay,
Action.
cool. So we're gonna trim off the beginnings of that. Cool. So now we can watch these pretty much all the way through.
Cut.
Cut.
Great.
Short and simple. Looks good.
Cut.
Cut.
Did you get that shadow thing?
Ooh. Atmosphere.
Cut.
Cut.
Okay, those are our takes. Let's take a look. Let's watch them again. See what we start analyzing and see what we like. Thank you, Premiere.
Cut.
Cut.
Great.
I love that silhouette. That's why I'm still hearing that because I feel like that's coming through. This take's gonna sound real weird. I'm not even sure what I'm hearing in that take, other than that might just be Arthur's mic rubbing. Uh, yeah, just super loud. Okay, we're gonna stick with this.
Cut. Cut.
Cut.
Did you get that shadow thing?
I like that take.
Ooh. Atmosphere.
Cut.
All right, yeah, I definitely. Let's see. I think. Let me check something real quick. I want to watch the. First couple takes of this. Let's see those rehearsals for a sec. Let's unmute this for a moment.
Action. Cut.
Cut.
Great.
Oh, hang on, don't. Did we cut? That's what we need to slate.
Don't.
Ah.
Camera rolls.
Camera rolling. This is shot 7A.
5A.
Sorry, 5A, take 2.
Cool.
Actors, kill the lights and go back to 1.
For anyone new to the filmmaking industry, the phrase "back to one" means back to the place you were at the start of the scene. If there's a movement going on, or if there's actually camera movement as well, if the dolly's moving or anything, when you say "back to one," it means back to the starting position.
And frame.
Action. Cut.
I'm not gonna lie, something I really like about those first couple takes. Let's go ahead and let's put them in. All right, second take I liked. Let's go ahead and put that back in here as an option, because this moment is so, oop, because this moment is so like simple dialogue wise, we could theoretically substitute out some of the audio for it. Let's see.
5A, take 2.
And frame.
Action.
Let's cut that. Put this here.
Cut.
Cut.
Cool. All right. Let's watch these again. Also, you can tell the difference between the sound out of the camera, which kind of has that. It's quieter. It's kind of got. It feels. It's weird to say the sound feels a certain way, but this sound feels much more kind of just. You feel like you're sort of in the room, but don't feel like you're being directed to anything. Versus the audio out of with the directional mics, where it's more you notice more specific things. Okay, I think we're gonna take. Yeah, let me check something real quick. 'Cause I know we have this shot here. Uh,
Camera rolls.
This is shot 5B, take 1. Actors to 1.
Frame.
Action.
Ooh. Atmosphere.
Cut.
Cut. Super easy.
Sound rolling.
Camera rolling. Frame.
Action.
Ooh. Atmosphere.
Cut.
okay. So we do have this that we could cut
Shot
to.
5B. Actors reset to 1.
Ooh.
All right, first question, whether or not I can use this is, let me zoom this in. See if I can. Make sure we can crop out what we don't need to see there. Which we can do. Okay, cool. Take this to 135 maybe? Because we don't want to see that sign on the door. Because this is the scene takes place. We filmed this in an Airbnb, so and a very fancy one, so the rooms all have names. But
Action.
Ooh. Atmosphere.
Cut.
okay, so that can work. Okay, cool. Let me go ahead and reset these guys. So we've got it. We know the take is usable though. Because this shot was one that we added kind of late in the game. It's on the shot list, but we added it a little bit late. In terms of are we going to use this? Because it's nice to see Arthur actually crossing the threshold and having that kind of sort of there's no going back moment. If it's actually something that helps us.
Atmosphere. Ooh. Atmosphere.
Cut.
Maybe, big maybe. Because we do cover that in this shot as well. Though we just that light, so maybe not. Maybe we do need it. Anyway, let's see.
Sound rolling. This is shot 5D, take 1.
Frame.
Action.
Atmosphere.
Excuse me, I thought...
Bathrooms.
Sorry, I thought...
Bathrooms next door down.
Thank you. Gotcha. Sorry, I thought...
Bathrooms next door down.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Keeps it safe here.
Cool. Just kind of clicking through to see where we're at. All right, so let's talk about this intro. Again, a million different ways to put together a scene.
Actors to 1.
Let's go ahead and cut this to where we need it.
Action.
Delete that. Pull this back.
Action.
Let's cut and delete and delete. All right, so things I'm gonna look at this scene for. I'm gonna watch all the 4 takes this one more time. I'm gonna say the things I'm looking for, and then I'm gonna watch them to see to see what fulfills it, and B to see which one I just connect with the most. So the things I'm looking at, I'm looking at Madeline's. I'm looking at Arthur's kind of overall reactions. Again, given where we left off with this moment.
What if my husband came around the corner? You could gut him easy. Arthur, I'm kidding. Kidding. It's just a joke. I'm totally kidding.
So, how much we talking? Money?
Couple hundred. I don't know.
play with the audio there. But um, okay. So we left that scene with Arthur being a little bit wary and with Madeline having some fun with it. So we want to make sure we kind of continue those emotions without feeling like they've changed too much between then and now. Again, the looking for something that feels close enough to real that we believe it. Cut.
Great. Ooh. Cut.
Cut.
Did you get that shadow thing? Ooh. Atmosphere. Cut.
Cut. I think it's take three. I think it's this one.
Atmosphere. Atmosphere. Cut. Ooh.
Yeah, I think that's the take. I think it's the one thing I like about this take here is I like that you get a real strong sense of his shadow there. I really love the shadow work on that one. Um, oh, I like both of them. I really do. All right, so it's either take two or take four. It's gonna be one of these two. Let's go ahead and pull this back. And this is another one of those instances where um, editors, if you can, as you're working on a project, I know it's hard because a lot of editing has to be done remotely these days. But if you are working with if it is possible to have your director in the room with you to work on this as a collaboration, that is such an invaluable thing. And Elena, I know you're gonna watch this, and I'm absolutely not like uh knocking either of us for not being able to physically be in the room together, but like this kind of moment is so much fun to like. These are the kind of moments I relish as an editor working with a director, because you really do get to like narrow it down and chew over what's important in which moment and what expresses it better. And I love these kind of discussions. Um, that's the other thing is that it's about editing that's so often again because editing is such a like is kind of shrouded in mystery in a lot of film production. And the assumption is that the editor, yeah, whoever did the editing kind of goes away and edits the movie, you know, in their little cave and then comes back and shows everyone the movie. And I mean that depends on the project, depends on the relationship the director and the editor have. Uh, but in the vast majority of cases, it's and if you're talking big Hollywood productions, you're talking you've got a whole team of editors who are already like you've got assistant editors and dialogue editors and Foley editors and so on who are um, doing a lot of the prep and the logging for you. Well, the dialogue editors and the Foley editors coming after the fact, but um, yeah, there's a lot of editors who are coming in. There's a lot of you know lower level editors who are doing a lot of the prep work and the scene kind of just getting everything together. The kind of the way the way I've done here. Um, and then the main editor and the director sit down and work on scenes together and kind of create the first cut of the movie. Great, I mean all the cuts in the movie. It's usually a very collaborative process. Um, but because editing is kind of mysterious and usually there's only one person's name involved in it, and usually like on a film set it's like okay, like yeah, the director and the cinematographer collaborate, but the a lot of times the technical like the there's a lot of films where the director is isn't super well versed in the actual like camera process of the film. So and cinematographers kind of end up just they shoot it like they are kind of totally in charge of the camera work and the visuals. And that's not to say like that's not inherently a bad thing. Some directors are spectacular directors of actors and spectacular at crafting a story, and they know that the camera work is not their strong suit, so they hire a cinematographer who is very very good at visual storytelling, and that can be an excellent partnership. But you can have like there can it like on in production on film sets it's usually a lot more of a sense of like even if the cinematographer and the director have a very good relationship and the director has a good understanding of cinematic like the details and the technicals of cinematography, you still end up with a lot of times the cinematographer like I mean this is kind of my relationship with Elena, that she's very smart about visual storytelling. She's very smart about writing and crafting scenes that are visual. And she and I talk about a lot of stuff, but usually on set I'll set something up and I'll be like I'll be like, hey, let me get, approve. What do you think? Take a look at this. Check. Give me your thumbs up or thumbs down. And, and if it's thumbs down, it's usually, um, kind of 50-50. It's either some specific thing, or she's like, it needs a little more. It needs some extra this, and it's, my job to translate that into, okay, what physical change should I make to the shot or the lighting or the lens or whatever in order to uh, what the thing that she wants more come across better visually. So in a lot of those cases, and that's like this is a fairly typical relationship for a director and cinematographer. It's a lot of like set it, director approve, yes, cool, shot is ready to go. The director's not super involved in the nitty gritty of the cinematography, of the sound, the production design, kind of similar thing. Um, director doesn't always get their hands super dirty in that. With editing, they often do. With editing, it's usually they're here, but at the whole time by your side, working through the project step by step. Um, and a lot of the decisions that editors that kind of fall under the choice the editor made, uh, often come down to the director, or can often not come down to the director, but can often be are collaborations between the editor and director. Um, so yeah, that's the Uh, that's something that is fantastic about that relationship. And uh, basically, what I'm saying is, Elena, I wish you were here right now to break this tie because I'm so on the fence about which of these takes to use. To be fair, you did give me notes. Give me a second. Let me see if I can pull up your notes and see what you think. Please hold, everyone. I realize you can still hear me, so I can talk a little bit. I'm actually going to talk about something I wanted to bring up earlier, which is another reason you don't see editing done as a uh, yeah, you don't see editing done as a like done in this. You don't usually see the behind the scenes of editing or the process of editing, and a lot of that comes down to. All right, we're gonna come back in. There we go. A lot of that comes down to. Let's see. Interesting. You like take one. You were not a fan of take two. Um, you liked take four. Okay, take four is one I highlight. You like take one. Let me take another look at take one. You like the Arthur moment and the shadows were cool in the last take. That's true. Um, anyway, uh, is that there's actually SAG Screen Actors Guild rules that for certain once you get to a certain size budget on a project, um, if someone is in the guild, uh, you can't, you're not allowed to show like they're signing on as an actor to be in the project. They're agreeing to give you their time and their talent playing this character with the agreement the uh that the only that we're going to see the final product, and that the behind the scenes kind of stuff, some of it, I mean there's obviously a clause for behind the scenes footage, but that the raw footage is not going to be just put out there in any capacity. So on higher budget projects, another reason you don't see this is because by contract you're actually not allowed to.
Camera rolling. All right.
All right, we're gonna watch take one again.
Hold.
Cut.
Cut.
Great.
Oh, hang on, don't. Did we cut? Emma, you still rolling?
Okay, cool. Actually, I do like that take. I like that take. I like.
Shot 7.
And frame.
Action. Cut.
The struggle with editing and I mean and with acting as well is just the uh gotta watch this thing a million times knowing that there's a whole different tons of versions of it and try to find the one that feels uh try to look through them and find the one that feels the most spontaneous, even though you know it's coming and you know it's coming multiple times.
Action.
That is a really good Arthur moment.
Cut.
Cut.
Man, I was not ready to like. I knew the scene was gonna be a challenge because I know how good these actors are, but man, I was not ready for it to be this much of a challenge. You guys are. This might be another reason that Screen Actors Guild contracts say you can't really uh,
Action.
showcase raw footage because obviously there's gonna be mistakes and there's gonna be like there is a freedom to being able uh,
Cut.
to be that's the wrong button. Um, there's a freedom to being able to talk candidly about mistakes and about problems with footage and so on and so forth without it being publicly broadcast. And there are um, like I will say there are certain projects that I have worked on that like I wouldn't live stream and that I can't like just because like with this one I know with this project I don't have anything bad, like there's nothing bad I would say. There's been projects I've worked on that have been some of them like under my own company that have been slightly more of a more train wrecky in terms of the editing and in terms of uh you're solving more problems than you're uh than like it's a lot more problem solving. And yeah, no, I can understand like not wanting to put that out publicly because those kind of frustrations can be annoying and can be the kind of thing you want to be able to openly talk about, but you don't want to be don't necessarily need to be public. So that's a reason. However, hey Maria Lisa. All right, good night. Um, so the other thing, the sorry, it was a good kiss. Um, the on the flip side of that coin, um, and I have to say this, Arthur and Annabelle, sincerely from my heart, fuck both of you. You are entirely too talented, and you are making these choices impossible. And I hope you give every single editor who ever works on any film you've worked on this same problem because god damn you two are perfect. Okay, all of that said, I was not prepared to have to make hard decisions tonight, and this is absolutely throwing off my mental health. And yeah, I will find a way to get you two back at some point in the future, probably involving Super Soakers. But we'll yeah, I'll let you worry. Know that no, just know that day is coming. Anyway, um, okay, let's continue on. So, I think what I'm gonna do for now, while I kind of get my head in the game, I think I'm just gonna clean up some shots and kind of start pulling out stuff. I think that's what I'm gonna start doing. Um, Let's see. Another shot of a safe. Let's see, what shot is this actually labeled as? This is shot E. Yeah, slight push in. Cool. All right. Does this need to be a Dutch angle? I feel like this doesn't. I feel like this shouldn't be. I'm also not entirely sure we need this shot. It's another shot I'm not entirely sure we need. Actually, I like it better from that angle. Okay, so second angle here. And I'm going to stabilize this shot so it is steady. Oop. Cut there. And the other reason editing doesn't get showcased is because it's a lot of just someone sitting and staring at a screen without saying much, especially in a situation like this. Yeah, not gonna lie, something about that moment right there is the one that sticks out to me. So we're gonna keep that. But we also are gonna put it where it belongs in the order, because this is the order we shot it in. It belongs here. Let's see. Okay. So we're gonna take all of this, pull it back a bit. I'm gonna drop this shot in here. There we go. Close that gap and then close this one.
Cut.
Cut.
Did you get that shadow?
Let's cut the bit after cut there.
Ooh. Atmosphere.
Cut.
Cut.
Nice.
Super easy. Okay, I know how to cut this scene.
Ooh. Atmosphere.
Cut.
Cut. Good.
Atmosphere. Atmosphere. Atmosphere.
Talking about mistakes, I wish I had, for this shot, wish we had someone hold that lamp closer to him so that when she turns the light on, it lights him up a little more. It would have been a cheat, but I wish we'd done it. Uh, that's the other cool thing about this scene is that this scene is lit almost entirely with practical lights. Um, that you better believe we did a lot of research on, a lot of prep on to find ones that would actually be bright enough and would be enough to light the scene in the way that we want them to. And shots like this are meant to be more silhouettes, so like if I throw that base color grade on, it's gonna look like that, and then uh, but these moments, yeah, gives really leaning into those shadows. Yeah.
Ooh. Atmosphere.
But yeah, that's why I do like how that looks. Okay, so now let's watch these takes because I now know how to cut this. And sometimes it just takes a little bit of context.
Ooh. Atmosphere. Atmosphere.
Cut.
Atmosphere.
Okay, here's what we're gonna do.
Ooh. Atmosphere. Ooh.
All right, so first take.
Ooh.
Gonna put a cut there. We're gonna get rid of this. Oop, not that. We'll put a cut there. Pull this back. So we're gonna use that part. Actually, I take it back. I don't want to delete that other thing. I want to pull this part away from it. So let's cut and paste. Kind of down here is where we'll start working on this one. Beautiful. Put this color grade down here so it's out of our way. And then I think, looking at performance here, we're gonna put a cut there.
Atmosphere.
Excellent. We're gonna take that moment and we're gonna cut that as well and put it down here. And that just solved the problem, one of the problems I was having, because I'm watching.
Atmosphere.
I'm gonna take the audio and pull it back here. Let's stop him right there. We'll see if we use the rest of that. But the problem I was having with these takes, with these first few takes, is I wanted, like, I like this first take a lot, but it feels like she's taking a beat to find that switch. And logically, in her house, that would be, or at least in her house in a film, uh, she wouldn't do that. All right, so now we can choose our take based on performance. And I think I agree. Looking at this second take now. Yep, phone vibrating. Is that important? Let me quickly check. No, looks like we're good. There. Okay, cool. Yeah, frame almost loses her, and that's, let's see, the cut here is gonna be, well, yeah, watching her walk across. Yeah. Yeah, so it's right before the click. That click brings us back to, so yeah, I think I agree with that second take. As much as I absolutely love this shadow, I feel like it's not quite gonna fit in with the way with how this scene can come together. I think I like that. Yeah, we lose her a bit there, so I think take 4's got to be our ending take. Take almost loses her a little bit. Take also almost loses her a bit. Put that cut there. She steps forward. There we go. We can take that as a cut. As a cut, not a copy. Yeah, we can paste it over here. It's gonna fill in this gap like this. Actually works pretty well. Let's see if we need more of that. Let's see. I actually like that. It kind of makes this a dialogue between the two of them. He can start to come in. We could even cut there. If we extend this, and we see what our overlap looks like. That's pretty good. Let's pick our beginning. Could be the same take.
Ooh.
That could actually work. Let's look at this first take though.
Cut.
Ooh.
I think the first take's the one to go with on this one. Put our cut right there. Take this, bring it back to our scene, and paste. Let's watch it.
Atmosphere.
All right, let's watch this without the sound. Let's watch this muted just so we can see how the movement goes. Let's trim a little bit of that off. Cool. Okay. Looks pretty good. Something about this feels a little bit off to me, and I'm not sure what yet. No, I'm liking it. I want to see. I'm gonna unmute that. I want to see if I can see. Nah, this takes. Yeah, this take really is the take that never loses Madeline, and that's important. All right, let's look at our next shot. These are the shots of Arthur. Let's look at our next one. 5C.
5C, take one. Oh,
All right, that's an outtake. We jumped a little early. Let's try it again.
action.
All right, so obviously we can't use the beginning of this because there is a light in the background, but that is fine because we know that what this shot is.
Atmosphere.
A lot of times you shoot stuff. Real quick side aside here. Thank you, Premiere. A lot of times you will shoot like we'll shoot this overlap, even though the beginning of this footage is not usable from a editing perspective, just because we are seeing lights, and this is not a cinematography mistake. This is, and I'm not just saying this to explain that I didn't mess up on set. Um, we knew we were like this is shot C. This is listed as medium wide on Arthur. Unlocked pan from right to left with a very little shake. Arthur moves along the wall towards the desk. So we knew that's what we were going to use this for, but in this case, it helps us to start the scene this way. And to run through the beginning because it gives the actors like it's especially with acting, especially in a thriller with a scene like this, it can be difficult to jump right into the yeah, it can be difficult to jump right into the emotions of a moment. So you kind of do have a little bit of pre-roll and kind of let them play out the beginning of the scene just to get the blocking down. So this scene would start here. But we're not using either of those takes because we tweaked the lighting after that, which means it's this take because now, yes, we added some moonlight, which is important.
I thought.
Bathroom's next door.
Excuse me. I thought.
Bathroom's next door down.
Gotcha. Thank you.
All right,
Cut.
Sound.
all right.
Next door down.
I was hoping to get further in this tonight than I did, but I think I'm gonna get to the end of this beat and call it because now I'm spending the first night kind of getting myself more familiar with the footage, and it's just I'll be honest, it took longer to put this first bit together than I thought it was going to because yeah, these guys did some really good work here. And editing, for as much as it's a technical art, it is also an art, and sometimes your mind needs to just kind of let things sit the way they do. All right. Let's see. We're gonna cut that. I'm gonna bring this here. Pull this back. We leave off here.
Atmosphere.
I'm just gonna do a copy and paste, so I'm never not overlapping anything here. Pull that out, cut, and delete the early stuff. Put that there. I might be overcutting this a little bit, but I want to see how it goes. Actually extend the audio there a bit to cover that gap. Save. And now this is going to bring us to
Rolls.
let's take a look. Which shot is this? This is 5D take one. Take a look at Elena's notes. That's right, we did this in a different order. 5J, 5. There we go, 5D. Good, great, best. So take 3 is the best. Let's take a look at that. But that might be different parts of the take. Um, this is our first beat. Our first beat is getting them in the room. That's what we're going to complete tonight.
Sound rolling. Atmosphere.
So we like take 3. Let's take a look at the beginning.
Frame?
Action.
Atmosphere.
Focus a little. No, that focus looks pretty sharp. That's good. I'm gonna try a couple more things.
Atmosphere. Sphere. Atmosphere. Atmosphere.
I want to try something because actually I just had an idea that might work, and um, this is one of the things where like referencing Elena's notes. We said 5D takes 1, 2, and 3, eye level, and Madison. First take was listed as good, second is great, and third was the best. Um, we're gonna grab something from take 2 here, but when it comes back to the second half of the scene, where this is another reason we shoot overlap because this moment, 5D was written as um, Madeline wide, medium wide on Madeline. It ended up being kind of a medium close. Eye level. Da, da, da. Madeline watching Arthur's progress takes a step toward the fireplace. So this is supposed to be once the door is closed. But because we shot this overlap and we started with her turning the light on, um, I can now use the beginning. I can use this part in take 2 that we never thought we were going to use as my uh, kind of as my setup, as my base, or as for an earlier part of the thing, and then we can when we get to take to the part of the take that we figured we were going to use when we planned it out, we'll look at take 3 because that's the one that stuck it to Elena. All right, so we're gonna put a cut. Though she did like take 2 as well. She liked take 1. She liked all 3 takes. Again, Annabelle, this is a problem. You are too talented. Keep doing it. It's fantastic. This is the like you're making my life very hard, and I cannot thank you enough. Uh, so definitely. First thing I'm gonna do is put this cut, move that, put this here. Sorry about that, excuse me. Put the cut a little bit earlier. This is so I can justify seeing a little more light on her face. All right. And something you might notice, I'm going to talk about the sound for a quick, tiny little second. You'll notice the sound on this seems uh seems very you have a lot of like kind of background noise and it seems pretty rough, but it's kind of the same thing. Um this is the reason we have 6 mic tracks here is we had 3 sources. We had a boom mic on the on the pole going above everybody and kind of catching the overall room, and then we had individual lavs on Madeline and Arthur. So we've got 3 mics going. From each of those, we have 2 tracks that are they're mono tracks. So we've got 2 tracks from each of those, which is why you're hearing, and these mics are very sensitive. But the thing about this, it's almost kind of the way like the camera shoots in a log or a raw format that you then have a lot more latitude to whittle down into something better, into something more specific and more precise. This is the same. I think the same kind of thing with the sound. All right. Now I want to try. So I'm going to try a second version of this. I'm copy this because all right, let's watch this moment real quick. I'm definitely stretching this moment a little bit. I'm well aware of that. So, gonna have to tweak that in on a second pass, but I want to try something real fast. Just to see which one I like better, because there's definitely a couple different moments here to cut to Madeline's close up, and the other one is here. And this version of the scene might be one of those like more simpler moments that just plays better. So let's find out. Have this. Probably cut the video there. Probably swing the audio. Delete that and just sort of, I guess sort of underlap it. Is underlap a word? Underlap? We're sneaking it underneath.
Atmosphere.
And then we just get rid of that.
Atmosphere.
Let's see. Couple places to put this cut. Let's cut it there. Okay, a couple different options with this. I think this one might be the better one.
Atmosphere. Atmosphere.
Let's see. Thank you, Shelby Lynn. Underlap is a word. I'm kind of depressed. I thought I invented it.
Atmosphere.
Cool. That works pretty well. So we got two different versions of this scene, which I will come and take another look at in due course. But that's what I'm going to save this from here tonight for now. Um, you know what? While we're standing here, I am very much aware there's one take of this that we can use. Let's go ahead and add this next shot in. Okay, apparently we're gonna keep working. I say that like I hated it. I don't. I love this. I just, this is how filmmaking and a lot of a lot of my art goes. Is where I was like, all right, I think I'm done. I'm gonna do this one more thing. Alright, so we'll put a cut there. And this is what I talked about when I mentioned sort of you can break the 180 if you show it, if you show the 180 changing. So we start out shooting from this side of the room, from the kind of across this couch here, sort of in the bottom corner. We kind of had we in our notes we said couch side and desk side, and I will actually show you because I don't get to talk about this much, but um, when we because this house was an Airbnb, and because they had a really cool 3D walkthrough of the house, we actually were able to do like I was able to print out like screenshots of the room and actually write in a lot of the camera movements for where they're supposed to be in terms of which side of the room we're on and which direction we're shooting. Sorry, I'm looking at the screen down there to make sure this is showing up. But that was absolutely invaluable for how we shot this, uh, and knowing which side of the room we were on. And so this shot here that we are talking about, this one here, um, is pretty essential for us getting to that, like, so, yeah, allowing us to we're discovering the rest of the room with Arthur, which is important, but um we're also allowing us as a film going audience to switch to the other side of the room without it seeming weird. So we're gonna go ahead and this next moment's one that I know I'm not gonna work on tonight because I know uh it is one that it's gonna take some very specific finessing to lock in. I don't need two copies of that because we've got that shot, we've got Madeline's whole reaction, um, and then we have this shot, which is one of my favorite shots in the film, just uh, because of when I talk about having a well composed master shot and having a shot that changes with the landscape of the thank you Premiere, the landscape of the scene. This is the kind of shot that I'm talking about, and this is just I'm really happy with how this shot came out, even though it's not a master, just this one moment. But let's go. We're gonna go ahead and watch this take. And there's part of it's like I don't want to cut away from this at all, but I think I'm gonna have to at some point. But here we go.
Sound rolling.
Rolling.
Camera rolling.
Shot 5F, take 3.
Excuse me.
Frank?
Action.
Sorry, I just...
Bathroom's next door down.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Keeps it safe here.
Cut.
Cut.
Love that.
Yeah, in terms of a shot that is going to give us all is going to show us the room, show us the levels, give us everything we need. This is a shot I really don't think we can top. I absolutely love it as a shot for as a moment for the film. I think I'm going to go ahead and drop this in.
Action.
Make sure Elena agrees with me. This is shot. Uh, this is 5F.
Sound rolling.
Yeah, this is 5F. Just look at my notes. Second half is good. Yeah, best one is take 3, and I agree. And like if I don't want to cut away from this shot if I don't absolutely have to. So we're gonna bring that actually, not the whole thing, just the.
Action.
This will actually help me with. Oop, nope. A big cut right there. Let's go ahead and cut this. Bring it back. Paste. This shot, I know I'm gonna cut. I want to cut kind of before I hit those windows. Maybe. Yeah, I think I'd like to if I can. Yeah, kind of letting Arthur discover the room there. Let's put our cut right there. So we're gonna cut the end of this. And then we're gonna go back to let's go back to that third take of the close-up that we liked. That
Sorry, I thought...
Bathroom's next door down.
Gotcha. Thank you.
oh, that is a nice touch from Madeline. Ah, Annabelle. You know what I'm gonna say. It's not fair. So now we're gonna look at this take is gonna get kind of getting cut up into 3 different parts. So we're gonna look at each of these parts. And the first part here is the part we're looking at now is her watching Arthur kind of come around the room. Okay, that one's all right. Not bad. Both those are pretty good. I think that third take's the way to go. So we're gonna put a cut there. Right up until the door knock. Cut. Paste. Just the once. Thanks. Then we come back to here. I think I'm gonna try this and put a cut there. I'm gonna try remove. I really like that moonlight coming in, but we're gonna have plenty of opportunities for that. I'm gonna leave that off for now. I'm gonna extend. Is this take 3 or is this take 2? Which take are we looking at here with Madeline? Looking at take 2, I think. No, we're looking at take 3. Okay, good. It's a take we liked. Cool. So let's come back here. We can extend this through that door knock. We see that look from her. And this is a thing I'm trying to do in terms of keeping some form of continuity going, is that we're sort of, and this is a thing, like a thing that I think is usually pretty helpful in terms of keeping a scene feeling stable, is that we keep, for the most part, landing back. That's one of the reasons I'm leaning toward this version where we cut to the close-up earlier, is like, okay, so new shot, new shot, new shot. Like, these are the first time we're seeing these shots. And it's the beginning of a scene, so you're expecting to see new shots.
Atmosphere.
Um, Still, not a new shot. Not a new shot. And that shot, this shot here, transitions us to, let's pull this back a little bit. This shot here transitions us to this next shot, which is pretty much a point of view. It feels like it's coming from here, so that kind of helps these two shots feel connected. So it's a new shot, but it's a new shot with a purpose. And we're following that. Again, not a new shot, cutting back. And then something changes, and that requires a new shot that's not motivated from a point of view, and it's a new thing, but that is the changing of the landscape. And I think that's this might be me over exaggerating a very subtle effect, but I think that actually helps. Right, so oop, not that. Not delete. I want to put a cut. I want to delete that. And we show this interruption. It interrupts a shot that we've already seen a bunch of times.
Sorry, I just.
Bath-
I just.
Bathroom's next door down.
Gotcha. Thank you. Gotcha. Thank you.
So we'll take that out. We'll come back to our close up. Let's see, did we bring that? We didn't bring that in here yet, but we're just gonna pull it out of here.
Sorry, I thought.
Bathroom's next door down. Bathroom's next door down.
Thank you.
So you want to try to, as much as we can, have motivated reasons to cut and motivated reasons to choose the shots you have.
Bathroom's next door down.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Down.
Gotcha. Thank you. Gotcha. Thank you. Thank you.
Next door down.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Let's see.
Door down.
Gotcha. Thank you.
The only problem with the continuity here is that he doesn't, in the wide, he doesn't close the door, and that he does in the close up. So we'll see if I can get this to work.
Sorry, I just.
Bathroom's next door down.
Gotcha. Thank you. Gotcha. Thank you. Thank you.
So put a cut here. By the way, the actor off screen here is a guy, a wonderful guy named Zakar, who is actually is a student who came on board to be part of the production and is just, man, the energy he brought to set was fantastic. And actually, there were a bunch of times he suggested really awesome stuff that we ended up using. So, uh, props to, and he didn't show up expecting to play a role here. We needed a body. I think originally it was supposed to be me, just to be the body outside there. And then he was there, and he's got a really really nice profile. So, and he did the part perfectly.
I just.
Bathroom's next door down.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Keeps it safe here.
All right, and she gets in there. Cool. All right, that looks pretty good. That's actually going pretty well. Um, let's watch that whole moment.
Sorry, I just.
Bathroom's next door down.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Did we close the door in any of those other takes? I gotta check. Elena, if you're watching, I 100% agree with you that I love Mad's little giggle there, but that door closing is messing with me.
Sorry, I saw.
Bathroom's next door down.
Gotcha. Thank you. Gotcha. Thank you.
Like, I am,
Next door down.
Gotcha. Thank you.
I am in love. I hate that I don't think we can use it, because we need to maintain the continuity of the wide. But I love this moment where she goes that smile into that. Like that's a really like we talked a lot about this in our pre-production. I'm sure you talked a ton about it in rehearsal with the cast, Elena. And this is a note to think that anyone directing, this is directing or acting, this is a really beautiful moment. Um, we talked last time about finding specificity in in your character choices and being able to clearly convey your character, what's going through your character's head and who your character is. Um, yeah, just without overplaying it. And like watching Madeline slip in and out of the role in and out of that role of of hostess and of party, yeah, just of socialite, um while and then just bringing in that utter contempt and going like no, and then going straight to close the door and make sure this doesn't, they don't get interrupted again, is something that I find absolutely fantastic. I think it's a really uh really well executed moment. Um, okay, that time he stands there.
Sorry.
Man, if that was a take where he closed the door, we'd be in business. But that's again another reason I think editing doesn't get shown is because I have to. I'm sitting here admitting we made a continuity error. And this is not unusual. I guarantee every single film ever made has had to make decisions like this and deal with continuity errors.
Action.
Um, and deal with continuity errors like this. So I know it's a thing. It's just you do, it's I'm admitting that we on set did make a mistake. We've made several mistakes, and everyone does make mistakes. But maybe that's the reason polished film in the polished world of media you always want hype. You never want mistakes. Uh, so. But I don't know. I think admitting our mistakes is a good thing, and it's like it keeps us from getting too big-headed, and it keeps anyone watching our work from assuming that we have magical powers. This isn't about I mean, talent is a thing, but it's not about magic, and it's not, and we definitely, we screw up constantly. Everybody does. Um, we make mistakes. We try again. We fail again. We fail better. Um, and yeah, and it's a lot of hard work to cover up those mistakes, but we work on it. We do it. We find ways to make it work. Uh, and that's the essence of editing. That's one of the reasons editing is so hugely essential, is because mistakes do get made, and it's our job, among everything else, to cover them up and make them look natural.
Sorry, I just.
Bathroom's next door down.
Gotcha. Thank you. Sorry, I just.
Bathroom's next door down.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Down.
Thank you.
And some of this moment needs revision. I'm actually debating taking that close up out and just letting it play in the wide, which is partially I'm trying to decide if that's me being absolutely head over heels in love with the wide, or uh, if this is actually messing with the continuity or messing with the rhythm of the scene.
Sorry, I just.
Bathroom's next door down.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Next door down.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Let's see, we can trim a couple frames off of that. Trim a half a second off of that.
Keeps it safe here.
Okay, and then we get into the actual safe opening bit of the scene, which is over here. 5i. What was 5i for? Uh, I'm not sure we shot. I'm not sure we have this shot. I'm not sure how useful it's gonna be. Let me check Elena's notes on here. 5i. Yep, Elena said the same thing right there. I don't know if we need this angle. Yeah, I'm not sure we do either. This was shot as coverage. Uh, I think what it was is we were not expecting this take to be. We were not expecting this shot to cover as much as it does. We were expecting this shot to kind of cover. Uh,
Sorry,
yeah, we're expecting that shot to cover Arthur hiding. We actually had a shot written in here. Um, that was yeah from outside the. That's why. Okay, now I get it, Elena. I know why we have that. I know why we have this angle in the movie, and the answer is we originally planned the door opens. Um, the door opens and instead of staying in this shot, we were going to cut to outside the door, kind of over the guest's shoulders. We would never see the guest, but we would see kind of we'd see their arm. Um, and that is definitely a 180 break, an intentional one. Again, this is like 180 breaks. If a 180 break at its worst is a break that's going to mess with your it's going to disorient you a little bit, and this is definitely an unexpected abrupt change in the landscape of the scene, so a 180 break would make sense here. So we're going to have a 180 break here where we kind of cut outside the door to the guest's shoulder. Also, small detail that a 180 break um, a 180 if a 180 break can happen, but if the shot change is so extreme, so going from like a wide of the room to an over the shoulder from outside the door, so basically a wide to a weird sort of medium close up, from a complete shooting through a door to from a different room, is the bigger the change in the shot, the more like it's still going to be an abrupt change. It's going to be noticeable, but it's not going to be noticeable because it's a 180 break. It's going to be noticeable because it's an abrupt shot change. Um, but anyway, we planned on shooting from outside the door uh, for this moment, um, and that would have put us on that side of the room. So then we would have come back into this, and we want and to cut back from outside the door to this. Not necessarily. Actually, we might still have done it because this is still a good, it'd be coming back to where we left off in a place of safety. But I think we plan to shoot this as because this a shot from this angle would be um more in keeping with the planned shot from outside the door. Same deal. I don't think we need this safe shot. I filmed it. I don't think we need it. I think we're better. We're about to get plenty. We're about to see where the safe is. So, um,
Keeps it safe here.
I do really like this take though. I'm not this shot. I'm not gonna lie. It's a pretty shot.
sorry, I thought.
Bathroom's next door down.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Keeps it safe here.
Yeah, I don't think we need this shot. This shot does several things that I don't like. Apart from the fact that it's the performances are good. The performances are good across the board, and the uh, this is kind of like that proscenium shot from the kitchen scene. If you were watching for that, where it was like, okay, the performances are good, and seeing the two of them in a shot, interacting with each other is good, but this isn't doing us any favors. It's not visually we're getting visually the language of filmmaking and the cinematic language is far better in this shot where there's depth and there's focus changes.
Keeps it safe here.
Uh yeah, like those it's far better there. Um and it ends with them switching places and being on the wrong side of the frame from what we've established that's where they're supposed to be. So yeah, this is yeah, that's a shot a thing we planned, we shot it, and we're not going to use it. And that's actually, you want to talk about the default editing experience on a film? Um, a lot of the time, it's going through and being like, we shot a whole bunch of stuff that we are just not going to use because Yeah, like because we have other stuff that works, and it's in many ways like when you're doing pre-production, you're planning out a shoot, you do want to kind of you know plan coverage and plan to overshoot and plan to have things from multiple angles and multiple different ways, um, just so you have options. But and then editing a lot of the time is being given this this smorgasbord of shots and performances and moments, and then trying to like how do I in some ways most simply tell that story depending on the project. There are definitely some films where that you want to lean into the chaos. Those films are usually not as narratively driven or have a bigger thematic thing. This is a movie. This is a thriller. This is a thriller and a character piece. And so my job as editor is to convey that story as simply as I can uh, without tweaking it or giving you or drawing you out of it with my edits. So yeah, I think we're gonna go with that.
Sorry, I thought.
Bathroom's next door down.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Keeps it safe here.
I'm wondering if this shot's the better one to use for the ending. Let's see how it ends. Actually, let me look at the shot we're using. First question is,
Sorry, I just.
Bathroom's next door down. Keeps it safe here. Keeps it safe here.
what is casting that shadow on him? That shouldn't be camera shadow because there's no light. Like that shadow would be maybe the curtains behind him because that's where the light is. There's not like we weren't the like looking back at the at the looking back at this shot, not this shot. This shot here. No, this one here. Looking here, yeah, we were tucked into that corner. There's no light coming behind us. That's got to just be, I don't know, that'd be his shadow falling on us, not our shadow falling on him. Weird. Let's see if it happens here.
Keeps it safe here.
Doesn't.
Cut. Cut.
All right, I like both of these. I really do. I like that ending. Let's go ahead and grab this just in case. Bring it down there. Take a look at it in the scene because there's both of these takes have things I wonder about. Both of these takes have things that I'm like, all right, which of these is the bigger problem? In this one, it's that little bit of shadow. Yeah, I'm not sure what that shadow is, but it does feel like it's camera shadow, but I don't know what it would be like, what's casting it, because there's no light over there. Um, in this one, however, we don't have that problem, but we do have the problem of that is a mic pack right there, but that's also an easy fix. What's he doing? You know what? I think I'm gonna go with this other take. I think I'm gonna use this second take instead of the first one, instead of the one we originally had. We also sort of hear her lock the door there, and that's important because she does lock the door.
Keeps it safe here.
So now the question is, all right, how visible is that mic pack and how into frame does it get? Kind of, there's kind of where it's most in frame. So we're going to bring this in by 5%. Does that even do anything? There we go. Okay, so let's go in 7%. Maybe that might be enough to almost just about. Let's go in 10%. If I crank this up a little bit, kind of like that.
Keeps it safe here.
And catching just a tiny bit of it, but not enough to really worry. Not enough to super worry me, but I'm gonna fix it anyway. Let's go to 112. Yep. Nope, not 15. Not 125. What am I doing? 112. There we go. Enough to just. Honestly, you know what? Let's lean into this. Let's go to 120. Let's bring that. And now we can actually let that bit of movement be an actual thing if I adjust the positioning. Because once he's clear, I do kind of like that. Let him just kind of settle in and I think pull this back to, you know, I'll just keep it where it is. Put the cut there. Cut and delete. There we go.
Keeps it safe here.
Just real quick, take a glance at that other one just.
Keeps it safe here. Keeps it safe here.
Cool. I can actually start this. Let's put a keyframe there. Let's start this actually even a little bit lower, kind of like that. Because this is supposed to be a handheld shot, so a little bit extra movement's not a bad thing. And that should be right at the top of frame, just about. Let's go back here. Let's get this right to the top. There we go.
Keeps it safe.
Actually, I take that back. This one should be kind of right. Yeah, right so we don't see that mic pack. This one could be a little more like that.
Keeps it safe here.
This is the thing, is that even in a shot that I'm like, I love this, I want it to play kind of totally as is, I'm still sitting here being like, nope, I'm gonna tweak the framing bit by bit. A little bit too high. I think it might be a little bit too high. No, no way. There's no. Yeah, no. Take that back. Cool. All right, we're gonna save. A couple of moments here that I'm gonna pull away as moments to revisit. And shots that I really like. Again, sort of killing my darlings here.
Sorry, I just.
Bathroom's next door down.
We're gonna have some overlap there.
Sorry, I just. sorry. Sorry. I just.
Bathroom's next.
Maybe that's a thing to look at on another take. Uh, okay, let's see. Me convinced I was done for the night. Me not being done for the night.
This is spot shot.
Frame.
Action.
All right, the next shot was supposed to be. Let's see. Over the shoulder, Madeline and Arthur in the safe. Between Arthur and Madeline, as they reveal the safe, Madeline puts in the combination, and they switch positions. Okay, cool. So this one actually, that's another reason why we were gonna have that. Why we had that couch shot from the couch side, um, is because we need to start this from this angle. So we do need we need some kind of cut here.
Frame.
Action.
Frame. I'm just gonna.
Also, fun fact: this safe is, uh, most safes have kind of the like 1, 2, 3 digit combination. I believe this safe either has somewhere between 4 and 6, so it takes twice as long to open. Actually, no, take it back. It's not the numbers. It's you've got to do more turns. So it's instead of just go to the first number, go back, round once, and then go to the second number. This one is like go to the first number, go around twice to the second number, and then go around another. Like, yeah, it's an older safe. Takes a lot more to open.
I got it.
All right, we've switched. This is also a moment where we're like, over the course of this story, and we talked about this on like the first day of editing or the second day. First time we talked about the knife. We talked about the knife being in the first scene. The knife is a tool, but also more of a toy. It's not taken seriously. In this scene, in this moment, the knife becomes a tool because it's become something they open it that they use to open the safes, and then spoiler alert, later on it becomes a weapon. So um, we got kind of the journey of the knife going from toy to tool to weapon. Okay. All right, so I'm actually going to stop here for the night because this is going to be this is going to give me a bit of a continuity or a 180 break thing I got to work on because yeah, we did plan on shooting from this direction for the next beat. Do we have two close-ups of the? No, we just got the one. That's fine. Yeah, we don't need much for opening the safe. Um, but we do kind of need to shoot from this direction before we shoot from this one, just because in terms of getting there, uh, in terms of their like screen geography being correct, uh, it's important to keep, to try to keep Arthur on the left and Madeline on the right. So we would start with this moment where Arthur is still they're right on top of each other, but Arthur is still the leftmost one of the two. And then when uh, they switch positions in this take. We get them to switch, and we cut to this angle, and once they've switched, now once again, even here, there we go. We switch with Arthur on the left and Madeline on the right. So they are, even though they're switching positions, the camera is moving as well to maintain that cinematic language, so that when they do actually visibly switch on screen, it's more obvious. But that leaves me with a continuity question and a 180 break of how do I go from this shot of them coming in to technically to this angle. Like that is a 180 break, and that's an aggressive 180 break. So that's going to be the question I end the night on. We're going to save this, and I'm going to come back to that next time. Elena, when you watch this, feel free to weigh in with your thoughts on how to do it. One of my thoughts is my first kind of off the top of my head thought is cut to this shot first. Um, cut to that shot first, or honestly, cut to this shot of the safe as a kind of a neutral shot. Um, in between. That's another reason why if you were a filmmaker, if you're a director, a cinematographer, now, I'm not even saying this is going to be my solution, but if you're a director or a cinematographer, um, shoot insert shots, shoot shots of stuff. They're fantastic for a couple of different reasons. One, moments like this they can totally save. If you've got to cut between two things, but you don't want to. But like they would look weird cutting from one to the other. Cutting to an insert is fantastic. It's a great way to. It's a great like it's a very good way to cover those beats. Um, Second reason inserts are great, and this is one of the reasons when I'm shooting, one of the things I usually try to do is I usually shoot the inserts first, as much as I can. As we'll set up, we'll get the set ready, we'll get the set lit, we'll figure out what the lighting's going to be, and then uh, while the director is working with the actors and getting everyone kind of in character and in place, I will send everyone else off the set, so I can start shooting inserts, and that is I shoot them first because it gets my head in the game. It helps. It's kind of a warm up for me. Because it really the shot, there's obviously you can and you should work character and story details into your inserts, but it's more like it's that, but it's also shots of just objects where it's just you and the camera and the object and the lighting. And it's great for getting yourself into the game and into the world of the movie because you can figure out, okay, like, okay, if I'm doing this angle, am I doing this angle? Is it from a character's perspective? Is it, do we do, a low Dutch angle? Does that work for this? And you can it's a good way to get your head in the game, um, and start kind of, ramping up to taking, notes on paper and turning them into visual storytelling. So, insert shots are a lifesaver. They're spectacular. They can also like you've seen them a million times used to tell stories. To tell huge essential parts of the story. Sometimes it's super obvious. There's a shot uh in True Detective where and it's like this is absolute like like this shot is it's clear, it's concise, it's telling you exactly what's going on. It's also the least subtle thing I've seen in a long time, and I love it. Um, but there's a shot where one of the characters who has previously been a cheater and previously cheated on his wife, um, has like he was caught. He went, he's like he like went to therapy. He and his wife got back together. Like they're like he's fixed this mistake, and then he gets tempted again, and there's a shot that cuts to when he gets tempted by this woman, and then it cuts to a shot, an insert shot, like you don't know it yet, but it's inside her bedroom, and it's these two little porcelain figures, one's an angel, one's a devil, and the camera focuses on the angel, and then rack focuses to the devil, and it's a quick little insert shot that's the start of the scene, but it very clearly says, okay, good person going bad, or like good, like good is going to bad. Um, and that's like they can tell the story in that way. They can be super useful in all these different kinds of ways. Uh, but they can also like they can cover a lot of stuff. If there's a mistake you need to cover, cutting to an insert is a really good way to do it. Um, and yeah, there's a lot that you can do in terms of to inserts, um, cutting to inserts over dialogue or over emotional moments. There's um, the director name Japanese director I believe Ozu, who uses their shots are called pillow shots, which are I mean, and this is very much a key part of his style, and not a part, and not exactly a thing that it's not it's part of the style, and and it's like it fits the tone of the movie, but it might feel out of place in a more traditionally shot film. But um, he will cut to like shots of objects that are thematically connected to what's happening in the story, and it'll just be like he just has it's almost these pillow shots, almost like they're padding in a good, safe, comfortable way between some of the story beats, and it's really interesting. to do it because it's almost like you're seeing the emotions of the story played out through objects that are almost using objects and inserts like a Greek chorus, like they're in some ways disconnected from the story, but they are still telling the story and telling essential parts of the story, and that's fascinating what you can do with shots like that. So yeah, shoot inserts. They're a fantastic warm up. They're a fantastic they're also fun. They can also be some of the coolest shots in your film. If you want to give your film a little bit of that extra flair of spicy cinematography, um, shooting some cool looking insert shots that fit within the realm of the story, um, are great. They're usually you can play with some fun rack focuses. You can play with little bits of fun camera movement. Um, and then when you have a mistake, because you invariably will, every film has mistakes. Um, when you have a mistake, uh, you've got a whole host of shots to cover it with. So yeah. Anyway, that's my little rant on insert shots for the night. That's where I'm gonna leave off. We'll be back on Friday night. Uh, maybe a little bit later than usual, but yeah, the plan is we'll be back on Friday night to continue working on this scene. We'll see. We'll probably get to where I wanted to get tonight with the safe. That's probably where we'll get. Probably get to the safe. Probably do a shorter thing on Friday night, and then Monday pick it up again. But yeah, also I'm gonna count that True Detective thing as my second on storytelling. So that's what that was. Um, and yeah, so haven't done one of those in a while. Mostly because if I show clips, YouTube starts blocking starts censoring the censoring the channel or cutting off the live stream. So that's not fun. Um, but so I talk about it and I can still have the graphics. So I might as well pop it up when I can. But yes, okay. Thank you all for watching tonight. Thank you for being part of this. I feel like I revealed more of myself as an editor tonight, just in terms of the the editing is an art, and it's art like all art. Sometimes you can't force it. And I know there were moments where I was like, I'm gonna call this early. I'm gonna jump off quickly, and just kind of tonight say okay, I got myself acquainted with the footage, and that's enough. But yeah, looking back, I'm glad I kept going, and I'm glad we found answers, and I'm glad we kept going and found and we got a couple good cuts of the scene that I can come back and look at next time. And Elena, when you watch this, you can weigh in on the decisions. Obviously, I've still got I've got the first. Okay, you can't see Premiere, but I've got the original first cut of the beginning of the scene still here. I've got a bunch of the stuff that the takes that I didn't use still sitting over on the timeline. So yeah, so I'm sure we'll talk. And additionally, one more time, Adam and Annabelle, if you guys are watching this, once again, fuck you. You two are entirely too talented, and you're making my life miserable. And I absolutely love you both for it. And I'm gonna give you huge hugs next time I see you, and then spray you with silly string or something because you deserve it, I guess. You're wonderful. And so is everyone who watched. Everyone who joined in, everyone who watches this now, who watches this tomorrow, who watches this you know, 40 years from now, just in the midst of the Second American Civil War, just to return, to remember the times when things were more normal. Thank you. Keep it going. And for those of you fighting in that battle, uh, keep up the good fight. You're the last line of defense. Um, but anyway, yes, I'm starting to ramble. That's my cue to close this out and to head off. So thank you very much. Stay safe. Keep making cool stuff. And yeah, we'll be back and we'll be doing more. Good night. Stay safe. Be awesome. I really need to put like music or something